Hello and welcome back to the course on Tableau. And today we're talking about aggregations and granularity. It's going to be quite an important tutorial because the things that you will learn today you will take away and apply throughout this course and throughout all of your work with Tableau, because these things govern how Tableau operates. So let's get straight into it. Here we've got the chart, and the chart that we've created, and it's showing us unemployment in the US month to month from 2005 to 2015. Now the question that we have is, how does Tableau know that we want to see it at the monthly level? How does Tableau know that this aggregation that it's doing, summing up the unemployed variable, how does it know that we want to see it at the monthly level? How does it know that it needs to sum it up at the month level? So the answer is quite simple. Tableau will always aggregate measures at the level of granularity of your worksheet. So in this case, because we have this variable here, month of period, Tableau knows that we are intending to see all of this data that we're plotting at the level of 1 month, or at the granularity of a month. And so what that means if I remove this, if I just drag it out of the dashboard or the worksheet, you will see one single dot. So instead of lots of dots or a line, Tableau has Tableau has no clue at which level of granularity we want to see the worksheet, and it assumes that we just want to see it at the broadest level possible, and that is at the level of the whole data set. So what it does is just sums up all of the values for this variable unemployed into one single value, and it plots it for you. So I'm just going to Control Z and return month of period. And so that, in this case, month of period is the variable that governs granularity. Normally what happens, or quite like the concept behind Tableau, is that measures get aggregated and dimensions specify the level of granularity. And we will see how that works in a second. In this case, month of period, even though it's recognized as a measure and it's green, it is still the variable that is specifying the level of granularity. And that's because it introduces this axis or a timeline at the bottom, and it actually specifies that we want to see it at the monthly level. So it makes sense for Tableau to assume that we want to see this chart at the level of granularity of a month. So now what we can do to alter aggregation is we can go to analysis and we can actually switch it off. So if you just uncheck this box, you'll see that you get this fuzzy chart, and now we're just going to replace it with a shape chart just to make it look better. And you will see that now, instead of aggregating the data, Tableau is just plotting unemployed. So basically, it's plotting every single row of our data set separately on this chart. So you're going to have a lot of values for the same month in the same year. And that's because we have two genders and we have a lot of different age groups. And now if we look at the bottom, we will see that there's a total of 1,708 marks. And that is the total number of rows that we have in our data, because our data is at monthly level. So if we go back to our plot here, we're just going to switch aggregation back on, and I'll show you another way we can alter aggregation. Now what we can do is, instead of switching aggregation off, we can introduce a dimension which will change the level of granularity of our dashboard, and therefore it will affect the aggregation. So we're going to take gender and we're going to drag it onto color. And right away you can see here that we have twice as many dots. The blue dots represent male and the orange dots represent female unemployment for that specific month. And now Tableau knows that because we have this variable here, which is month of period, and because we have this dimension in our worksheet, it knows that we want to see everything, or we want to see all of the measures aggregated at the level of granularity of month plus gender. So if we look down here, you'll see that there's 244 marks. That is twice as many marks as we had when we had months. So I'll just take gender out for a second, and you'll see that we have 122 marks. And so now if we return gender back into color, there's 244 marks. And that is telling us that the level of granularity has become even smaller, or bigger actually. So the chart has become more granular because we've introduced this dimension. what else can we do? We can introduce more dimensions to increase granularity even further. So let's take age and drag it into shape. So now you can see many more marks, and you still see orange and blue. Orange represents gender, and orange represents female, and blue represent male. But at the same time, there's different shapes on the chart now. There's circles, there's squares, there's crosses, there's pluses. There's lots of different types of shapes, and each shape represents a different group or a different level, kind of a different data point or a different point on our chart. And Tableau knows the level we want to aggregate at because it can see all of the dimensions on our worksheet. You can see that we have gender, we have age, we have a month of period. So it knows that this sum is now has to be calculated having these this level of granularity in mind. So that's how granularity works, and aggregation works together with granularity. Let's have a look at different types of aggregations that are available. So I'm just going to remove age so it's not too cluttered. And now what we're going to look at is not sum of unemployed, we're actually going to change it. And if you click this drop down and go down to measure sum, here you can change what you want to see. So let's say you want to see the average unemployment for that month. If you click that, you'll see the chart didn't change much, but the axis actually changed. So when you had sum, it was the total unemployment for that gender for that month. Now if you click measure average, you will see that it is the average unemployment for that gender for that month. Let's do another one. Let's look at, say, median. See, now the chart changes because it's actually showing us, and the axis changes as well, but now it's not proportional because it's median. And now we can see that these marks are representing the median unemployment at the level of granularity of this worksheet. And that level of granularity is month plus gender. And so basically that's how granularity and aggregation work. The only one more thing that I wanted to show you, and this is important, is detail. So sometimes you might want to increase your level of granularity. You want to make your dashboard more detailed or more granular, but you don't want to drag anything onto your color or shape. You don't want to affect the visual coloring or other parts of your dashboard, but you do want to increase the level of granularity. Well, Tableau has a solution for that. There is this option detail, and detail doesn't actually mean detail as in words or description. It actually means the level of granularity of your chart. And so let's do that. Let's take age, and instead of dragging it onto shape like we did last time, let's put it onto detail and see what happens. Now you can see that the shapes haven't changed, but the granularity of the chart has changed. So basically, this is an option for you to add dimensions and measures to your dashboard without actually affecting the visual representation, but affecting the level of granularity. And that's exactly why this button detail or this option detail is here. It's for you to control at which level the aggregation is going to happen. So just remember about that, because we will be using that going further in the course. And you will definitely find it helpful and handy when you're doing your own projects for work or at home. So that's all for today. I hope that was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions whatsoever, because these are important topics that we will need going forward. And in the next tutorial, we will start creating this awesome looking dashboard for unemployment. Worksheet for unemployment. Worksheet. Dashboards will come later. All right, I look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, happy analyzing.